I now give the floor to the observer of the Sovereign Order of Malta.
Mr. President, the conflict in the Middle East doesn't exist in a vacuum. It reverberates across the globe, directly impacting the social and economic fabric of every continent. As the cradle of the three Abrahamic religions, the region is the spiritual home to over half of the human race. Yet we find ourselves in a landscape where every step forward must be taken with utmost gravity and care, and where tragedy, suffering, and intolerance prevail, where peace and prosperity should be ascendant. Furthermore, these shockwaves threaten the fragile religious and social balance of the entire Levant, most acutely in Lebanon, where institutional strain and mass displacement already ignites a wider conflict. We must confront the realistic and terrifying trajectory of this contagion. This is no longer a localized struggle. It is a conflict that drags in nations far beyond its borders, threatening the very arteries of global security. The ongoing paralysis in the Straits of Hormuz is not merely a commercial risk. Its stability is essential for maintaining the global supply chains upon which humanitarian operations depend. Ensuring the passage of energy products, fertilizers, and other goods essential to the global economy is vital to the well-being of populations and, as we have heard today from numerous speakers, the consequences for food insecurity, particularly in Africa and Asia, are both real and are already having a negative impact. Upholding freedom of navigation under international law is therefore a prerequisite for protecting the most vulnerable and safeguarding the logistical foundations of global aid. Mr. President, in parallel to these concerns, the Sovereign Order of Malta, a neutral and impartial actor on the global stage, continues to uphold its humanitarian mission on the ground, guided by principles of neutrality, impartiality, and humanity. Through our relief organization, Malteser International, and our national associations, we maintain a sustained operational presence in the Holy Land, fielding thousands of volunteers and workers in Gaza, in the West Bank, and in Lebanon. In carrying out our work, we are reminded that across all contexts, humanitarian workers from a multitude of organizations continue to risk and often to lose their lives in the service of others. They do not carry guns, nor do they fire missiles. Their hands are devoted to service, and their hearts are inspired by love. Blessed are the peacemakers, Pope Leo reminds us. What an indictment to all of us that so many others and so many humanitarian individuals must pay for the compassion of the world with their lives. We remember Chadi Anmar, a young Order of Malta Lebanon staff member killed in southern Lebanon, and Hassan Badawi, a Lebanese Red Cross paramedic killed while on an ambulance mission just a few days ago. The protection of humanitarian workers must remain paramount and absolute in this regard. We applaud the recent joint multilateral statement on the protection of aid workers in Lebanon, sponsored by the Australian Minister of Foreign Affairs. Mr. President, respect for international humanitarian law is non-negotiable. Access to life-saving assistance and guaranteeing principles such as the right to worship must never become collateral to conflict. In this hall, we must uphold a fundamental truth, recently articulated by Pope Leo. Nothing, he said, is lost with peace everything can be lost with war. Let these words guide our deliberations as we strive to navigate a path to peace over a cycle of destruction. And let us hope and pray that recently announced ceasefires across the region will be maintained through respectful dialogue and serious negotiation. Thank you.
Je remercie